So you excited?
Yeah, I mean, things have been really great. When you put out a new song, it's always something new, right? So you don't know if it's gonna be, I guess, accepted or not, if people are gonna like connect with it. And so far, people are really, really connecting with it, and it makes me really happy to know
Yeah,
like,
I saw some of the posts on your live story of comments and little reviews. I read a few of them too. Uh, yeah, really complimentary, and I mean,
yeah,
a great
which
song.
sometimes it isn't, you know?
Well, I wanted to. I mean, the last time I saw you was December 1st,
Yes, the Montreal
2019.
show.
Exactly. You're opening up for the Montreal of Escobif, and I remember the place being packed. Like it was just jam packed. You came on with the band. You killed it.
Thank
You
you.
gave me goosebumps. And then after your set, like half the people leave. It was
That's
crazy.
all for you.
It just goes to show that you have a dedicated fan base already. Like it was starting to bubble up back then, and they're really like they support you at the shows. Uh,
Yeah.
Unlike your ex, apparently.
You said it, not me. I didn't
Hey,
say
you said it in the song.
it. This is true. But I mean, yeah, for me, that's the biggest compliment, the fact that people show up. And I mean, I've always said it. I've always wanted to be a touring artist. Like live shows are it for me. So the fact that that reflects in the shows and people are actually coming out, and that's honestly that's what I think people get attached to me to, is the fact that the live shows are something that I really put my whole heart into, and I think people are vibing with that, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So every superhero has a backstory.
Yes.
So I kind of want to go into yours.
My
Um,
backstory is so weird.
well,
um
first of all, I want to say these are the few things I learned about you so far. So you're gonna
okay.
have to fill in the gaps. Your dad was into country music, so you were surrounded with that growing up.
Definitely.
You learned guitar from an eight-fingered teacher.
Whoa, how did you learn that?
You identified early on with the rock to feed your inner rebellion,
Yep.
specifically with one singer. But which of those, if any, or maybe I'm missing something, made you want to say, I want to be on stage and sing? What was that
um,
trigger?
Well, funny enough, my he was a nine-fingered guitarist, I think. I can't even remember now because I was like 12. But one thing that happened with that is that I wouldn't stick to it. I think I had two lessons, and I was like, okay, I'm over this. Like I was too impatient as a child, and then I picked it back up again when I was like, I don't know, maybe like 16, 17. And I mean, honestly, I still don't consider myself a good guitarist. I write well, I play well enough to write, is what I tell people all the time. But yeah, my dad is actually a really talented singer. So, there would always be music playing or Garth Brooks on or Brad Paisley and everything. So I kind of fell into this music realm. My parents loved Bon Jovi. So, sing alongs in the car were a thing. And I mean, music has always been a big thing for me. And I actually studied music business, which is why I say my story is weird, because I kind of went into the artist lifestyle backwards than a lot of people. So when I was, I think, about 20, I studied music business, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a tour manager or a booking agent. Like, that's what I want to do. I just want to be involved in music. And I felt like my writing wasn't good enough. I felt like my voice was too strange because, I mean, my voice has always been raspy. So I grew up with like not the best compliments for my voice as a 14-year-old, because it doesn't really make sense when you're raspy as a 14-year-old. Well, now it benefits me, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, I want to be involved in music, and I'm not going to be an artist. And I felt like I didn't have the big enough drive to be an artist because I had friends who were artists, and it takes a lot of work. It's not just doing the music anymore. It's you're doing everything, like your social medias, your admin, your promoting yourself. It's a lot. And I thought that I just didn't have that in me. Um, After I studied music business, I was with someone who had friends who was a producer, and this producer had heard my voice. I don't remember why, but he was like, let's do a song together. I was like, okay, fine, but I wasn't really into it. And then I don't know, I just fell into it. I was like, oh my God, this feels great. And the second we put out one song, it was, I don't know, it was like transcending. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I didn't have the will to do anything else. And just the response from people was the biggest confirmation I ever got in my life to pursue something. So with that in mind, I had met Gina, my past bassist, because she was working at Shelm and I was working at the radio station actually before I did music, because again, I thought like I'm going to be involved, but I won't be the musician. So we met, got along straight away like a house on fire. I told her I was starting a musical project, showed her the song, and she was like, yeah, right away, like so into it. So we became like really close friends. I actually spoke to her today too, because she was on another podcast. So yeah, we worked together. Her husband, Devin Lougheed, is a really great producer. So he produced the first Cinzia The Eclipse song called Out of Love. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it got a good response. I pushed a lot to like blogs and spoke to a lot of people. And then I put out the second single, No Matter. And I don't know, I guess that's where the story really starts. That's when people really started connecting to the words that I was saying and attaching their own stories to it and resonating with it. And since then, it's just been a really positive response. And today we're releasing Don't Call Me Up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned that one of your early influences was the first lady of rock and roll, Janis Joplin.
My queen, where is she? Oh.
In one of her last interviews. Yeah. Okay, I was wondering what album was that? Okay, now I see it.
Yeah, that's a live album that I got in Toronto after a really bad day there. I just was not having a good day, so I found this random record store, went in, because if anyone's a fan of the movie Almost Famous, when you're having a bad day, you go visit the record store and visit your friends. That's what I did, and I miraculously found this incredible live album that just makes me very happy.
One of her last interviews she did was with the Village Voice.
Yeah.
And she said something I thought might resonate with you. She says, it was really important, you know, whether people were going to accept me or not. How important is that to you, being accepted?
I mean, as an artist, it's always a little bit important, because at the end of the day, I do put out music to connect with people. Like, this is my way to feel understood, because everyone who knows me in my personal life knows that I'm not super emotional, or I won't talk necessarily about problems as much as I should. So music really does that for me. So it's important for me to feel that connection. But at the end of the day, my really big mantra with my music and my life is authenticity over everything. Mm-hmm. So it needs to feel real, it needs to feel personal, and it needs to be natural. So being accepted, it's important to a certain point, but not if it doesn't feel right, and not if it's not me, you know? So let's say if my songs weren't doing well right now, I honestly wouldn't do anything different, because this is exactly what I want to be doing. And I think that's why it connects with people. Like,
that's probably why it fulfills you more, because if you're just going for the likes, those eventually go away, then you feel empty.
Exactly. And what's the point of that? I feel like if you pursue something just for the likes or the follows, you end up feeling a little bit like, well, what if I did what I actually wanted to do? Like, why does it have to be a what if? Why don't you do what you actually want to do? You know? And that goes for everyone in life. I've never understood that. The whole like, oh, I wish I was doing this. Well, you could try.
Yeah. Being a musician, especially like a singer-songwriter like you are, is this mix of vulnerability and courage. What do you think is the ratio that you have between vulnerability and courage?
I think that I feel that I'm a little more courageous because I'm vulnerable. Does that make sense? Because then the vulnerability kind of balances out. Because I really need to kind of get to a place when I write that I forget that I'm writing, or I forget that this is going to be heard. Like, to reach that place of vulnerability, I need to be courageous enough to just blank everything out and just be within myself, or with my producer Luca, who produced Don't Call Me Up and everything else basically, except for Out of Love. We worked on a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, I think you need a blend of both, to be honest. But I definitely feel like I'm more courageous than vulnerable, because you're vulnerable for a little period of time while you're writing, and then the rest is all like, okay, I'm gonna put this out there, and you need to be courageous enough to like embrace your vulnerability and take it further.
And to reveal it to a bigger audience. I mean,
Yeah, especially someone like me who like, I will not call up my mom and be like, my heart is broken. It's just not me. I'll just put it in a song. So I know that when it's in a song, I'm like, people are gonna know.
so mom, yeah, she was a broken heart a couple times apparently. I mean, that's kind of the underlying theme of the songs that you've released so far. I know that the stuff that you released is a bit more mellow. You kind of bring a rockier side too to the live shows. You kind of got that crazy energy, so it's a mix of both, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
What's going to happen when Cinzia is in like a great relationship? What's going to happen to the songs?
I'll write songs.
How are you going to feed that?
I'll write love songs then. And that's the thing, like, I haven't been in a relationship in a really long time, just because I don't like forcing things, and I don't know, I'm a weird person, and right now it's just not my focus. So it's kind of looking back on things and writing what I want to write. And for some reason, I tend to write sad songs, and it's just what comes out. So, I mean, when I'm in love, I guess I'll write happy songs. But I'm not going to write happy songs if I'm not in love. Yeah. But I do have happy songs like that are not released, but that's another thing.
So you have to go to a live show one day.
Exactly.
So the new single, Don't Call Me Up, it hits Spotify's Music Friday Canada, Pop Chill Out, among others. There seems to be more of a production behind this song. It's not just you and the guitar, you and the piano. Pardon the pun, but it might even eclipse the 3+ million streams that you have of your other song on Spotify.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully. We put a lot of effort into this one. I mean, this is the first time that I'm releasing with a team, and it's not just me. And I've always been a little bit protective of the stuff that I'm doing, because again, it is personal and I do want it to be honest. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about the writing, I'm talking about like the people I work with as well. Like Luca, for example, who produced Don't Call Me Up. He's a close friend of mine. Like, I think he's the person that I saw the most last year until this quarantine happened. And I'm the type of person that I need a solid relationship with the people that I'm working with, because I need to be comfortable with you and you need to be comfortable with me. And I need you to understand what I'm trying to put out, because this isn't just Cinzia as the artist. Like, this is genuinely a part of me. So with Don't Call Me Up, Luca and I had maybe like 5 versions until we came to this one, because it just wasn't right. And we really took our time with it and really hit every single second exactly how we wanted it. And then Jay Lefebvre opened his label Meliphonics, and he wanted to sign me on. So we did a deal for Don't Call Me Up and decided to release together. But again, Jay has been a part of like, a part of my life, I guess you can say, for about a year and a half now, like talking, coming to the shows, like just connecting on multiple levels, like having random conversations, because I mean, that's what it is. It's all relationship based, everything that I do, you know? And he's always been honest with me. He's always been real with me. So, I mean, when he wanted to work together on this single, it was a pleasure to work with him, and I trust him. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot more effort that we put into this song. A lot more people involved, people who are invested and care about the project and are passionate about it. And I mean, that's all I could want. I just want to keep doing that.
Yeah. Surround yourself. They say you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yes, I strongly believe that. I try to surround myself with friends who are better than me, because I want to be better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This whole song started with a text message from one of your exes that sparked the creation of the song. Why do you think it's important to move forward and cut out those types of ties to the past? Kind of those negative things.
See, I think it's important because I find, oh, I can only speak for myself actually. I feel like before that relationship ended, I never spent enough time on myself and like really analyzing myself. Like we tend to rely on other people to define us when really we really should be looking within and finding out who we are before we invest our time in someone else, before we introduce ourselves to someone else's life. Because I think any relationship, friendship, romantic, anything, there's a strong balance when the people know who they are, you know, when you're not relying on someone to, like I said, define you. And when I got that message, I mean, I was still so invested in this person. So to get something that was so nonchalant, and honestly, he didn't mean any harm from it. It wasn't malicious. He really just thought like, oh, we're at that friends level. And for me, it was like, well, no, we're not. You can't be like sending me something like that and think that I won't feel something. And I just didn't want to feel that way anymore. So I wrote, Don't Call Me Up, which started a little bit angry. I was like, don't call me if you don't love me. But then, yeah, I mean, that vulnerable side came out, and it's not don't call me because I hate you. It's don't call me because I'm still in love with you and I need time to get over that.
It's empowerment.
Sorry?
It's empowerment. It's taking control of your surroundings and your emotional state so that you can maybe go to that place, maybe that friend zone eventually, but only when you're ready.
Exactly. And it's taking the time to really know yourself and put yourself first and be like, no, this is what I need right now, and not giving into something that would be so easy to give into. Because I mean, how many friends and people do we know in life who just complain about the same story constantly and don't move forward from it? Like you need a certain level of strength to be like, okay, no, I'm going to close that and focus on something else. And that's exactly what this song is.
So in the song, you actually say at one point, saying how you love my songs, but can't make it to the show. It's almost as if you're predicting the COVID-19 effect on live music.
I didn't try to, sorry.
It's not your fault, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So what are you and the band doing in these kind of crazy times to kind of...
During COVID? I mean, I'm an extrovert, so it was killing me at first to not be at concerts and not be at shows or not like go out with friends or go to the studio, because I mean, I live outside of my house. But honestly, I think we're doing really great. We really, like, I had a chance to really analyze what I wanted to put out as an artist with this single, take the time to really plan everything, talk with Luca, brainstorm with Malephonics and the label, decide and really take the time of who we wanted to work with. Whereas, I mean, I hate to say it, but if we were able to go to concerts and restaurants, I would probably be doing that than planning my release, because I like being around people.
Yeah. So it's kind of I was talking about that on my podcast, about taking this time to really kind of have an introspective look into our lives and to see, you know, what's most important and how do I move forward when this gets somewhat back to normal.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you took that time.
I mean, it's also okay to do nothing, because I know as an artist, I definitely felt pressure the first 2 weeks to do something, or like do lives or start some sort of concert festival online with a bunch of Montreal artists and get involved here and there. When, I mean, we need to realize that artists are people too who can take the time to sit down and just take in the effects, you know, of what's going on. But yeah, I think it was a good time to be reflective, basically.
You changed names for your band. You added the Eclipse to your name a little while ago. And an eclipse is all about something blocking something that is behind it. And whatever's happening in between creates some sort of beauty. So which are you? Are you the object that's front and center, that's protecting or hiding what's behind? Are you the object that's behind, it's kind of like hidden from everything? You don't really see what's going on. Or are you what's happening in between that kind of spills out on all sides?
So the eclipse is so interesting, and I don't think I've ever spoken about this actually, but the reason that there's an eclipse there is because I don't want to be the forefront and the center of everything. Because at the end of the day, I'm not. Like the songs wouldn't be what they are without Luca. The live shows wouldn't be what they are without the band. So to have something just titled Cinzia for me didn't make sense. So we added the eclipse, and to me, it's kind of a sort of something in between because I genuinely feel like we're all a little bit of a lunar eclipse going on in our lives. And like I said, I never said this before, so I'm happy that you're asking it. But to me, we're all whole moons, and sometimes you're half a moon because you're showing one side of yourself. Sometimes you're the other half of the moon because you're that person of while that time.
Mhm.
And I was actually on a podcast a few days ago, and we were talking about how people have a personality when the camera comes on. And I was arguing the fact that that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fake personality. It's just another side of that person.
Mhm.
So the eclipse is really just about embracing the evolution of who you are as a person. And it's okay to sometimes be out there and enthusiastic. And you know what? Sometimes, like, I am a moon that's eclipsed and I want to be in my own way and I want to be introverted. So we're all the eclipse.
It, it's it still kind of spills out, even if you can't see what's behind it, the effects of that synergy between the band, just you can't help but it's come out the sides.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel that that's uh, really explains well about your live show. It's just this explosion of passion and just everybody there is just really enjoying being together. You can really see that tightness. And like I said, I had goosebumps. It was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
my daughter and wife saw you at another show,
Yeah,
and
Vitrola, I think it was.
I think so. Yeah, it was with the uh,
With the Royal Foundry, I think.
Royal Foundry, exactly.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I didn't even play that show. I was working the door because
Oh,
that.
okay.
See, when I'm not like in the crowd or on stage, I'm like, okay, I need to get in somewhere. Okay, I'll do the door.
Yeah, and you promoted it and got my. I mean, that wasn't the point. I'm just so you can get some more jobs doing door
Yeah.
TV, but you kind of struck up a conversation with my wife and daughter and say, "Oh, come to the next show," and then uh, we did, and it was great.
Yeah, yeah. See, this is what I mean. I'm too social. This and the fact that we're talking about live shows is so like bittersweet right now because the memories are amazing and I miss it.
I know. You participated in Honey Jam and
Yeah.
also Canada's Music Incubator. So, what was the biggest lesson that you walked away from learning there?
Um, wow, that's a powerful question because so I went to Canada's Music Incubator because of Honey Jam.
Yeah.
So I played No Matter there with just me and a guitar, which was extremely intimidating because this is at the Mod Club and all the other girls were amazing, amazing, talented women who had bands backing them. And I just didn't feel comfortable with a band that I hadn't played with. So I was like, no, I'll just do me and a guitar. And yeah, like I said, it was Mod Club and it was packed. And people from Canada's Music Incubator and Coalition Music had seen me perform and granted me the opportunity to come to Canada's Music Incubator in the summer the next year because that was in August. And I mean, it was 2 intensive months that really did shape everything I'm doing right now. And I could say that with absolute confidence because when I came back from that, I was so certain of what I wanted Cinzia The Eclipse to be and the vibe I wanted to put out and the person that I wanted to be that I think I almost gave Luca a heart attack because I called him and I was like, all the songs are bad. We have to redo everything. This is not what I wanted to. And I mean, that's why we had like 5 versions of Don't Call Me Up. It needed to be perfect. It needed to represent what I wanted to be. And so I guess to answer your question, I guess the biggest lesson that I learned there is to be honest with your craft and be authentic because that's what's going to take you somewhere. And I think before that, I just didn't have the confidence to believe that. And there was someone who works at Coalition who basically told me, you can do any genre you want. You can literally do anything you want with your voice, and which is weird to say because now I sound like I'm talking about myself, like boasting about myself. But this is what they said. They were like, with your voice, you can do any genre you want. So I don't know why you feel like you have to box yourself. And that stuck with me. And I worked with a producer in Toronto, just like little writing sessions. And there was this level of honesty that came out in that writing session. And it just, I'm going to carry it with me for the rest of my life, to be honest. So
I find it interesting because on Apple Music, almost every one of your singles has a different genre. It's like singer-songwriter, indie pop. It was interesting. I think you have played around in the genres, and you seem to fit the groove. Like I think you found your
thank you. Yeah.
your voice.
Yeah, I think I was testing it out because, like I said, I've only been doing this for 2 years. You know, I haven't had, I don't have the years under my belt that a lot of artists have, where they're like trying some of this and trying some of that and finding their niche, and then they kind of like wipe away their catalog and start with what really works. I mean, I was really in the testing stages at the beginning, and I didn't really know it. So yeah, it's a little sporadic on Apple Music.
So it's sad because it's 2020, and we still hear the words like all-female band, female-fronted band. I'm sure I've used that term in the past, but it bugs me because a musician is a musician, regardless of who's behind the guitar, the drums, the bass, or any other instrument. Although vocalist is a little bit different. I think it is okay to say it's a female or a male vocalist or whatever. But I think Honey Jam was more about empowering the female voice in the music business.
Yeah, it was about like shedding a light on female Canadian musicians, which was really amazing because that was one show where every woman was talented in a different way, and it was so exciting to see so many women in one place belting it out.
Let's say you meet up with a young girl. She's looking at a guitar and a microphone going, should I give it a shot? What would be your advice to that young girl?
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you give it a shot?
What's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly. And like, I hate living in a world of what ifs. It's not something I can do. And I think that's why I kind of scare people sometimes, because I'm very upfront and I'll just say it how it is. But I can't imagine someone living in a life where it's like, oh, well, what if I did that? Well, why do you have to wonder that? Especially if you're a young girl in a music shop, of course, get that guitar, like force your parents to buy it for you, or save up, do something, like try it, because you never know if you don't try it, as cliche as it sounds.
And there's nothing wrong with switching to another instrument, or
exactly,
or like you said, you went, going behind the scenes and being a music mogul, taking care of shows and.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this stigma about music of I've done this for so long, so I have to stick to it, or oh, well, I'm too old to start doing that. And it's completely false. It's such a creative industry. You can pick up wherever you want. So that stigma of I have to stick to, I don't know, drums, even if I don't like it, well, that's not true. You could pick up piano and maybe it'll be amazing because you love that more, and you'll pick it up in like 6 months. You know?
Yeah. And sometimes it's fun when you go to shows and you see the different band members kind of switch it up.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, there's a really cool band, Flara K. They have a single coming out this Friday, actually. And they're so cool. They're like a husband and wife duo. And she'll kind of like grab the bass sometimes and then grab a guitar, and he's on synths, and then he'll grab guitar and grab bass. And I'm like, oh my God, it's incredible. I love it.
It's cool synergy. So I want to ask you the champagne question. So we're opening up a bottle of champagne 1 year from now.
Okay.
Because we're celebrating something that you just accomplished. What is that?
Complete Canadian tour, obviously. I want to say North American, but a year is not very far.
Yeah.
So Definitely some sort of monumental tour, 100%.
Yeah, and we might have to delay that one the 12 months because we never know how long it's going to take before touring goes back to normal. Who
Yeah.
knows? But I'm glad to see that the industry is still, doubling down on creativity, and there's still great music coming out. And,
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun side about what's going on right now is it's pushing so many people to get creative and appreciate arts on another level because I think we've always said it. We're always like, oh, I love the arts, I appreciate it. But everyone will like download music for free or, try and get free tickets to a show because it's your friend. Whereas now, um, not to say that I want people to struggle, that's not it at all. But I think people are really understanding the struggle that goes with being an artist. And, people are tipping when it comes to live Facebook shows or buying merch. I had 3 people reach out to us on Instagram saying like, hey, can I buy a shirt? I know it's hard times for artists right now. Let me contribute in some way. And I don't know, there's just a lot of love coming out of this whole thing. I think it's all about like twisting it into positivity. But I mean, I understand that it's also hard times. It's just so weird. It's a weird situation right now.
I wanted to start something called what was it? Give 5, tag 5.
Oh, okay.
So give $5 to a local musician that you like, and then tag 5 of your friends and challenge them to do the same.
Oh yeah, nice.
Just $5. But
Yeah,
that exponential growth of 5 asking 5 asking 5 could it's not gonna make not pay your rent, but at least put a smile on your face saying somebody cares.
yeah, exactly. And it's nice to be supported as an artist. And I think that's what is really hard to understand about a 2020 artist, whether it's a musician or I don't know, a visual artist or a photographer. It's a lot of a lot of people think that the number of Instagram followers, let's say, will define how much money you're making, and that's really not the case. You could have like 20,000 followers and still not be paying your rent because followers don't pay rent. You need that actual support, and it's nice to see it in the community, to be honest.
And at live show, I work with a lot of photographers at live shows. I do reviews still, and it's sad. I mean, one of them told me, she goes, "Yeah, I'm a photographer. I guess I took a vow of poverty." It's like it's that sad. Like where I even see bands sometimes will put up a picture, and I know they didn't take it because it's from the crowd, or
Yeah,
or even some friends of mine put up a picture that I took from them, but they didn't give me credit. It's like I'm okay. I'm not a photographer. I'm not making any money off this, but
but still,
give people credit. I mean, at least give them that.
I totally agree. Like, we did a show at Pitsy Campus last year, and my producer took a picture that I really liked. And he's not a photographer at all, but I still tagged him because maybe that'll bring other artists to his page. And
Mm.
it's that sense of community. I totally agree with you. And yeah, I'm very much for that. With like, even if you see in my post now about the songs, I don't think there's one post where I'm not calling out someone who helped me with something, just because I think it's important, you know?
No, that's why you chose the name.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why the eclipse is there.
Well, I'm so glad. I hope things go well with you. I hope this ends up being at the end of the day a growing experience for you. And I think the song is going to go somewhere. So
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to following its trajectory.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well too. I hope